have made an arrest in this case. We've arrested Dylan Roth, R-O-O-F, from Lexington, South Carolina. Approximately 30 minutes ago, he was arrested in Shelby, North Carolina during a traffic stop.
We'll make sure that he pays the price for this horrible act.
All too often we hear the words senseless act of killing or something tragically close to that meaning. But when the end result is 9 people dead, killed inside a church during a worship service, there need to be more than the standard questions asked, and a realization we may be bracing ourselves for a new form of homegrown terror. Let's kick the Thursday News Call into gear. She's a syndicated television and internet talker covering pop culture, politics, and much more, Lisa Durden. He's the founder of BigGovernment.com, an editor at Breitbart, and a Republican congressional candidate from Illinois, Michael Flynn. I thank you both for joining us here today. Lisa, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. This young man apparently walked into the church. We're told that he said, allegedly, "I have to do it. You rape our women and you're taking over our country and you have to go." How much fear does this send down your spine, knowing that anyone now can walk into a church, a place of worship, and just start killing people at random?
Well, first of all, I find it interesting we call this person a young man. We're still being very polite when we talk about white men gunning down black people. He's not a young man. This man is a monster. And I think he got his history confused. I think he forgot that your forefathers raped my foremothers. Your forefathers stole the country from Native Americans. We're not raping your women and taking this country. You guys used us to build this country up, and you're still financially benefiting from it.
May I just add something?
So this guy's a monster.
My relatives came from Europe. Okay, so let's just get that straight for the moment here, okay? I know what you're trying to say here, but let's make it very clear what we're talking about, all right? Michael, let me come to you on this now. As a hate crime, Lisa does make a point. We need to look at somebody like this as a monster more than anybody else. Do we not need to understand that hate crimes happen, and people like this, we need to be aware that they walk among us every day?
He's absolutely a monster, and he's absolutely disturbed. I think the rhetoric that we just heard is a little over the top. And certainly does not contribute to the dialogue you need to have in a situation like this. This is a tragedy. There's no sense to go and unpack centuries of grievance and lots of things we have problems with when we deal with a senseless act like this. There's 300 million people in this country. There are some crazy, deranged people. There are evil people. We have the criminal justice system, and he should get the full maximum of what we have, and including the death penalty. That's how we handle these. But we don't, this is not a time to start making political points and trying to bring back some kind of animosity from the past to provide context for this situation. That's exactly what we don't need.
Let's talk about politics, if you will, then, too, because the president came out, made a statement. He then went to gun control in one sentence. The mayor of Charleston, South Carolina, also mentioned gun control with regard to this. There's a former Obama administration individual who mentioned gun control. Michael, I come to you first on this one. Is it just too soon? We're less than 24 hours away from 9 people being butchered. Do we really need to bring politics into it, or is it the right time to do it?
No, it's not the right time, because the gun control would have nothing to do with this situation. We don't even know all the facts yet. We don't know anything about this gentleman or this individual. We know that he's obviously deranged. You do not, no sane person does this. That has nothing to do with guns, access to guns, ownership of guns. That has to do with a mental health issue. It's what we've seen in a number of tragedies around this country. Fortunately, these tragedies aren't often. They're still horrible. And they're horrific, and our hearts and prayers should go out to the families that are suffering.
Lisa, is that not just the point at this time? We should be focusing more on the people themselves than worrying about politics?
We should be focusing on Black Lives Matter, because this is going to continue just as it has done over the last 6 months. People are gunning down black people like we are prey. Not just cops, but ignorant individuals like this. And I want to correct this gentleman that just said he was a gentleman. This guy is not a gentleman. He's a monster. And I want to correct something else.
I think he agreed with that, though, Lisa.
I'm not dredging up the history. I'm not dredging up history. I'm talking about the facts. I was talking about this guy's statement saying how our men are raping your women. So I'm not bringing up the past. I'm rejecting his statement. We're not raping your women. We're not taking over this country. We're all immigrants here, except for African Americans. We've been dragged here. And the conversation has to be about Black Lives Matter, or else it's going to continue the massacre this way. Not just police officers, but this ignorant individual like this. He doesn't need help. He needs a jail cell. Why is it that when a black person commits crime, all of a sudden we're monsters and we're locked up? Now he needs to be in a padded room. This fool needs to be in a prison. He needs a needle in his arm.
So what do you think, Lisa? Should we just take him out in back of the police department right now and shoot him?
Listen.
What do you think? No, yes or no? Wait a minute, Lisa. Hang on. I gave you a couple of minutes to say something. Do you think that we should just take him in the back of the police department and shoot him?
We have a judicial system that I respect. So he needs to be considered for the death penalty and be killed, not be considered certifiable or he's crazy. He's a monster. So we can do due process.
Okay.
I'm okay with due process. Let's do that.
Okay, go ahead. Michael, I know you're waiting for something. Please chime in.
Well, one, I agree with Lisa on this. He should be subject to the death penalty. He is a monster. No real human being can dispute that. This is not about Black Lives Matter or White Lives Matter. This is about lives matter. And I assume...
Of course it's not about Black Lives Matter because you're not black. When you are black, Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. The bottom line is, until everybody feels that Black Lives Matter, more black lives would be slain in the streets. This man didn't care about black lives. All lives matter. So when you're white, you don't see how Black Lives Matter, but I do.
All right, Lisa, let's let Michael go ahead and answer.
Hold on. I find this offensive coming from her. This is ridiculous.
Of course you do.
Of course lives matter. And if you are going on the south side of Chicago trying to stop the killings that happen there every weekend, I might give you some credence. But come on, you're just trying to score political points here and trying to agitate for your own political benefit. This is a tragedy that befell the poor citizens of Charleston, and our hearts and prayers should go out to them, not trying to score some internet points or get more clicks on your dialogues.
All right, let's go ahead, and we got about 90 seconds left. I'm going to push this to Jeb Bush now, who canceled the Charleston event after this church shooting itself. Michael, do you think this was a smart move to make? Because there were some people saying that maybe he should have gone and he should have offered his condolences, if you will. Or was this simply just somebody making the right political move?
No, he made a safe political move. What he ought to have done is continued his trip there and gone to a prayer service. That's what he should have done.
Jeb Bush canceling this trip to Carolina was the same thing his brother did when he left us dying in New Orleans. So he's just like his brother.
Lisa, I tell you what, I'm not going to let you go off on a New Orleans rant here. That's not going to happen here. We can talk about that at another time, but we're going to stay on topic right now. So let me ask you, do you think he did this because he cares, or do you think he did this for politics?
I think he did this for politics, just like his brother did when he left us dying.
I'm not going to let you do that again. I'm not going to let you go off on a New Orleans rant here, Lisa.
He's not going to Carolina.
I'm not going to let you do that here. Can we please turn her volume down, if you will, for just a moment? Lisa, we're going to stay on topic here. All right. So let's go ahead and close this out right now, if you would, please. Michael, I only have one other issue here, and that is with regard to then the police department. Do you think, and the FBI getting involved as well. I only have 30 seconds. Should they indeed continue to follow this as a hate crime? I think we agree on that, yes?
Of course, it's a murder. You should follow it as a murder. Now, look, and also to Lisa, I mean, this is crazy. George Bush did not leave anybody dying in New Orleans. If anybody, Ray Nagin, the mayor of New Orleans, left people dying. He refused to issue the evacuation order until it was too late. The Democrat mayor of Louisiana left people dying in New Orleans. This terrible warped view that somehow everything's the fault of white people or Republicans or the Bushes is just unfortunate and misguided and does nothing to move the conversation forward.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye on this now because we are all out of time. Lisa Durden, Michael Flynn, we will have you back. We thank you both. We will stay on topic at all times. Thank you for your time. All right, coming up next, one who refuses to stand idly by waiting for the college rape culture to just fix itself. We're just getting started. MidPoint continues.